Hey, Kim,
Ah,
what is chemistry?
chemistry is that sort of je ne sais quoi. You can't quite put your finger on it, but you know it when you feel
Yeah,
it,
and if
right?
you feel it, then the audience can see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
true.
kind of thing. Yeah.
And I really, truly believe that we had it at Living Single from episode one, moment one, like right away.
That's exactly why they greenlit the show. I mean, our chemistry is part of the legend.
It is. Do you know that they still do chemistry reads on auditions? You want to explain
Yeah.
to the people what a chemistry read
Well,
is?
okay, so a chemistry read is where you go in and you see if you vibe with the other actor and they want to bring you in to make sure that you have, some kind of communication.
Right,
That
right.
je ne sais quoi you're talking about. So I think maybe we should do one here.
Why would we need one? It's clear that we have chemistry.
Well, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things that change. There's a lot of water under the bridge. Years have gone by. We've had COVID.
What does COVID have to do with
I just mean that you could have changed. You know what I'm saying? I could have changed too. So I say let's test it. So we're going to go on this new reliving single journey. We need to make sure that we have now what we had then.
Okay. All right.
You scared
okay.
of it?
No, I'm down for it. I'm down for it.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm a little worried, but no.
Okay.
Okay, tell you what, on one condition.
What is it though?
Okay, if we're going to do a chemistry read, then we need to read a script and I want to choose it.
Deal. I'm
Chemistry
scared.
read. Don't be
Don't
scared.
have me out here looking crazy.
No, we're going to look good.
All right.
Wait till you see. I got something in
Don't
mind.
get too
Okay.
excited now.
I'm
All
excited.
right, let's do this.
Let's do it.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome.
Reliving Single.
Reliving
Living
Single.
the unofficial Living Single podcast.
So it's
Please.
official, but it's unofficial.
Unofficial, of course.
Because we're rebels like that. So
Come
it's officially
on,
unofficial.
Kim, we're talking about the journey of
Wow.
living single through our eyes.
Yeah.
It was 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
God, that's
We're
a
still here
lifetime.
and it's still on and it is playing somewhere even as we speak right now.
Somewhere in the world,
Yeah.
Living Single is playing.
That's so wonderful.
And thank you to our fans and our friends and our family. You're the reason that this has
Yeah.
gone on this long. Again, they will not let us let this go.
I embrace it and we're getting younger and younger fans and people
Yeah.
whose kids are watching. So like how many Maxes have you met?
I've met Max's. I met someone whose name was Erica Alexandra.
Oh, wow.
Yes, Erica Alexandra Harris, a tech entrepreneur.
Wow.
Not kidding.
You did that.
Yeah.
Or her mama did that.
Well,
but
her
you
mama
that,
did it.
right.
She crazy. But
And
what
I've
you
met
want?
several
You know what I mean? I love
Sinclairs.
it. I didn't have any children,
Neither did I.
but I have lots of Maxes.
It's incredible.
But it's amazing when people pay tribute to you like that because that means it went to the heart. That's more than resonating.
Which is why we're doing this show.
Yeah,
Here at
for
the
sure.
Heart Beat.
Hey.
Get it? Okay.
So what are we going to do in the show? We're going to actually, what's a rewatch podcast?
So we're gonna
watch
watch
the
it.
show. Now, what's weird is I don't know how much I watched the show when it was on. Did you watch it?
So I watched some of it and I would forget stuff.
Yeah, well,
Like, oh,
I
when did
didn't
we do
watch
that?
it.
Yeah.
Well, no, because on Thursday nights when it came on, we were also taping that night.
Right.
And we're talking about you had to put a VHS in and record it and push it. No one knew how to work no VHS. Shoot. Nowadays, these kids don't even understand how lucky they are. They're so lazy. They can just go boom, pop it in. Next thing you know, they got everything at their fingertips.
So
Now
you're
we're going to
telling-
bring them back
We're gonna
to
bring
when
them
it was
all the
hard
way
work.
back.
Okay? So,
Okay.
yeah, so we're going to rewatch
So
it
watch
with
the show with us. Rewatch
watch
the
it
show.
with us. And we're going to start with number one.
Here we go. The first episode.
That's right. What is it?
I forgot the name of it.
Here
but
we go.
It was 30 years ago, people. So
Hey.
you'll be all right.
We're going to watch the show episode by episode, starting with number one. What is episode number one?
Episode number 1 is Judging a Book by Its Cover,
Yeah.
in which Regine thinks that she's found the perfect man, but Sinclair and Khadijah and Max learn that he is, dun dun dun, married.
Married.
Ooh.
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 He was played by Silk Kozar.
Who is
One of the
silky.
finest. He was silky, wasn't he?
He's a good looking man and he's a sweetheart
He is a sweetheart.
Yeah, yeah.
Good dude, respectful, gentleman, all of that.
playing this married man.
Ooh, I wanted to oil him up. They had to decide how to break it to her without her getting upset because Regine would lose trust in them. Meanwhile, the B story. Sinclair forgets to secure the front cover celebrity for Flavor magazine.
Yeah.
Now, we talk about B story. There's an A story and a B story in sitcom. And the A story is basically the main story, the story that the characters will be dealing with mostly. And the B story is the kind of fun story that comes up and that threads it through very lightly and sort of has maybe a couple of scenes and then ties up the end.
Right. You'll never watch a sitcom the same way ever again after you know that. Now, you'll see the A story, you'll see the B story, and you'll see how they fold into each other. It's beautiful. Fun to watch and fun to do.
I mean, you know, dating a married man in the 90s, was it a big deal in the 90s?
It's a big deal all the time. It's something you should never do.
I don't know. Nowadays, these young people be dating everybody. They get on their apps and they have an app for, do you want to date a married man?
Really?
I think I'm lying.
There's never a case in which the married man is the right man for you.
And by the way, if Yvette was thinking about the longevity of the show and also capturing attention, something controversial like that would be a good thing.
Right.
So she lays it down early on that it's a dating show, but it's going to be a little messy.
And by the way, Yvette is Yvette Lee Bowser, the creator of the show. You'll learn more about her.
Yes.
Are we going to watch this episode or what? It's time for the Rewind, where we watch and relive Living Single with you.
So before we get into the episode, we got to talk about the theme song.
Theme song. Yeah.
Everywhere we go, people sing this
Where
theme
we're
song.
living.
Yes, let's listen to this. Come on. What is that?
What is that?
Okay.
So that is not the theme song. The name of the Living Single show was originally My Girls.
Okay, I did know
And
that.
we were told that it had to be changed because there was a movie of the same name.
What movie?
My Girl. My Girl. A decision was made. We're going to change the name, and the name was going to be changed to Living Single.
Just in case anybody out there mistook the movie with two white kids
With four
a
black women.
sitcom with four black women.
And two
it
men.
was a tough time then.
Yeah. So it was changed to Living Single.
Okay.
Which I thought it was a terrible name.
Okay,
Because
bye.
because nobody talks that way. And you say, I'm living the single life, or ooh, I'm single and living it up big. Like, who says living single? It sounded harsh.
What'd you
and
do
hard
about
to
it?
say.
Did you say anything?
So Dana and I went to Warner Brothers and we went to go see Les Moonves, who was running Warner
And Dana
Brothers
is
at the time.
Queen Latifah, for
Right.
people who don't know that her name is.
My memory is that we took a golf cart over from the lot where we were over to the big lot where his office was. And I remember a set of doors opening up as if we were walking into heaven. It was like, oh, the executive office. And it took 15 years to walk to his desk because it was like a long walkway. And we fought for it. We're like, this is a terrible name. And why are you changing the name? Nobody's going to say it. And he just listened and said, okay, well, thank you so much for coming back, and get on in your golf cart and go on back across the dismissed.
Hey.
And we had to take it on. And now I couldn't imagine another name.
I
Here
like
we
that
are.
you stood up.
Yes, we fought for it.
You know what? Over and
lost
over,
the fight.
people don't understand that we have these battles.
Right.
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
And
They need
sometimes
to-
you lose.
You lost.
But we
Most
won.
times you lose.
Right.
It's all good.
What did we win? We won a great name.
Okay, so
Once
with
we got our name,
Yes.
Living Single,
Boom.
who wrote the theme song for it?
Queen
Who
Latifah.
performed the theme song for it?
Queen Latifah.
It was incredible.
It was great. Roll it.
I remember that day,
I know.
standing and dancing. Okay, so much to talk about there.
Hey!
It's a bop, and it bops to this day.
It does. And I think I only learned the lyrics last year. I mean, hey.
Yeah.
By the way, they all think I'm the woman dancing underneath the bridge.
Let's do a little moment to her. Big Les is her name. She's an incredible dancer and was, really one of the premier video girls that was happening in the
Yeah.
90s. And she came and did that dance. We've got to have her on the show.
We do. She's a
She's another
wonderful
sweetie pie. Yeah,
choreographer, and
yeah.
we also need to just prove that we are two different people. I don't mind if I can get paid her checks.
Right.
But I was never that limber. And plus, she's got strength ungodly. She
Oh,
looked like
yeah.
she's in Woman King. If I kicked up my leg, I'm telling you, you've been calling them EMT. It's not going to happen.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
So people come up to us and sing the song all the time.
All
it
the
has been
time.
remixed 1,000 times.
It's in all
There's
sorts
a
of...
jazzy
There
version.
you
There's
go.
a country version. And it shows that when you have great music, it lasts the test of time.
For sure.
She did that. True blue and tight like glue. So one of the things that's really special about this episode is, of course, it was written by our creator, Yvette Denise Lee, and Tom Anderson was brought in to be the overarching showrunner. I'm really grateful that Tom Anderson knew to stand down and let Yvette create the show that needed to be created. He was brought in to, oversee everything. But she wanted to create extraordinary female friendships. And that was the foundation for the show.
Right, so we should watch clip 1 because we're going to see the beginning of it.
Hello, Flavor Magazine, the freshest taste in news and views. How may I help you, love?
Sinclair, what are you doing?
I'm making them think we're international.
Make them think we need some money.
What we're getting from this is that Khadijah, played by the great Queen Latifah, is always going to be concerned about the health of her business. She's always going to have to be watching Sinclair, despite her good intentions, will mess her up and or miss things. And then she's always going to be interrupted by the continuing saga and soap opera of her various friends. There you go. That's Living Single.
That's the show.
Sinclair was a royal mess up, but you play her beautifully.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know what I'm saying?
I love Sinclair, and I don't like that people think she's dumb. She's not dumb. So ditzy and, marches to the beat of her own drummer.
That's
but
dumb.
Look at what she's doing. That's
not dumb.
That's not dumb. She's doing accents. She has thought this through. She wants her cousin's magazine to feel as if it's international. So she's willing to put on a fake accent. Like, I want people to think this is international. It's fantastic, or whatever she did. She's thought this through. That's not dumb. It's not well placed, but it's not dumb. It's not effective.
I don't even know what to say.
Matters.
Yeah, no, that's what's up. Sinclair, genius.
Yeah.
Pure genius, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Me too.
Okay.
And what's played by a pure genius, Kim Coles. Let's just be real.
No diggity, no doubt.
No diggity, no doubt. You were just coming off of Living Color.
Yes.
You have a background in comedy.
Yeah.
How much did that play into? Because the play is, here you are doing this receptionist cousin role.
Right.
And actually, dumb characters are actually very smart. It's actually very hard to play so-called characters who are seen as innocents or, you know what I mean, simple.
Because I was a grown woman playing that, so I couldn't be too
And by the
dumb,
way,
right.
you're smart. You went to the Brooklyn Tech, right?
It's a school you have to take a test to get into, but that's neither here nor there. It's one of the top 3 high schools in New York and in the country. But, to play, someone who was naive and innocent and childlike.
Suzanne Summers did that as Chrissy.
Please.
There's a classic, wonderful thing.
There
and
is.
Who's our Golden Girls?
Right.
The great Betty White.
Please.
Come on.
So to have that sort of innocence and childlike wander around the set was fun to play and fun to do, and a great contrast to Khadijah, who has this magazine and she's pulled.
She's
got herself together.
complicated and she's frustrated, but she's also very upfront that, she's got a lot of things that she's tumbling around.
Right.
And actually, I think that you're the great equalizer there.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You complement each other.
Thank you. And she's got a
You
show
actually
called
complement
Equalize.
each other as performers, too.
I think so, too. We had chemistry. We shared the same dressing room all 5 seasons of that show. There was no point that anybody think, let's just
I always
separate.
thought that you shared the same dressing room because you both had big titties.
Is that what?
Yes, big breasts.
Did they fit in the same room? We would actually, and I don't know if people know this, I was smoking at the time. We would go in our little dressing area and smoke cigarettes in between the scenes and go, we'll be right out. Girls, this is something. I went to a store and bought us a little sofa. We had pillows in there, made
You
it
did?
nice. Absolutely. Oh, it was
I didn't
very
have
nice.
nothing but a
Had
folding chair.
Oh no, we had plants in there, and we would sit and have a cigarette and we'll be right out.
Oh
That's
my
why we were late
gosh.
all the time. Yeah.
Wow. Well, everybody thinks it's all fancy back there, but we're in a huge warehouse and they've got in the back of these sets, the sets are built with sort of plywood and whatnot. They look great from the front. From the back, it's all, smoke
hot
and
mess,
mirrors.
right.
And we are in dressing rooms that are curtained off.
Mm-hmm.
And
you have to they're called quick change booths. So you just go in there, change, and get ready for the next scene.
Mhm.
And we would go in there and laugh. And so you had yours and Kim had hers and the guys had theirs. And we would go in there and just sit in our underwear and get ready for so let's say you and TC were out doing a scene. We'd be in there smoking our cigarettes and getting ready for the next scene. Just like, we'll be out shortly.
that's what's up. What I like is they got you in that big hat. You look great in hats.
I
You in
love those
jeans.
big hats.
You look good.
It had to be a cap that was easy enough to move on top of all those micro braids. There's a lot of thought that goes into this thing that we're putting together.
Yeah.
Even what you wear and the costumes, and we'll talk about that too. It's all a part of the show.
But what you're doing is establishing the 2 main characters, their dynamic as friends, and then also the third friend, Regine, is about to walk in.
Hello, ladies. I've got good news, and I couldn't wait till you got home to rub your nose is in it. Just came by to tell you that the limo outside happens to belong to my new boyfriend, Brad.
Well, if we didn't have so much work to do here, we'd love to hear more about your latest canine catch.
Oh, would you?
Wow.
It's freaking awesome.
Kim
That's the first
Fields-
episode, by the way.
That's the
We talk about
first
chemistry,
episode.
the legend coming in,
Come on.
laying it down, and in front of our eyes, she is no longer child star.
Right.
She is touting the fact that you can lick caviar off of her ample bosoms. By the way, if you put caviar in there, you ain't finding it.
You'll
I'm telling you right
never
now.
find it
You
again.
ain't finding no
but
caviar.
what's really cool about this is that Kim has been working for years and years and had done some work as an adult, but this was really her first role, at least from my perspective, her first role that we see her in a full-on woman.
Yeah.
And she stepped into it beautifully and owned it. And the wigs and the clothing and the desire to have a great man, but it really comes from wanting to grow out of this girl who just grew up in New Jersey. She
Yeah.
wants this other world of what she thinks that she wants. You know,
Yes.
a security.
I think that Kim Fields' regime set the bar for the bag. Like, go get that bag.
100%.
You know what I mean?
And wig culture.
and unapologetic.
Unapologetic. I'm going to wear these. I'm going to switch it up,
I'm going to serve it.
serve it, and enjoy.
I guess there's no shame in that game.
No.
You know?
If you know it, and if you know this is what you want, you know what she was going for. I think she was going for security. And I think people think that her character was a gold digger. I think it was a gold digger, as in Goal.
Look at you,
Not gold digging, but gold digging.
gold digger.
There's a life that you have when you have a wealthy man in the eyes of someone like
Well,
that.
you know, Kim was the gateway drug from wholesome to hussy. Yeah, everybody need a little taste. She was it, the bridge. We all have to give her props.
She would
You
be
know what
very
I'm
upset
saying?
that we were calling her a hussy, but she's a hussy-ish.
She understands that we mean that in the most
course.
beautiful
Right.
sense. And guess what? That's a career shift and certainly a personality shift.
Right.
She's a child star. She's a veteran. She's also wholesome, but also she's now playing the vamp and the hussy. Who's done that? Who's done that after her? Keke Palmer,
Oh.
Zendaya. They were
Oh.
child stars.
Okay.
And then they had to prove that they were also women, and they made that sort of, so they transitioned from like wholesome to scandalous. They did. Look at Euphoria.
You're right. She's the first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one thing to be a hussy. It's one thing to be a hussy on cocaine. So, you know, we all have our, you
Our
know,
trajectory,
yeah. Let's give props to the great Kim
Right.
Field.
as always. What does hussy mean?
Well, it's a very kind word to say you use your
feminine wiles.
Your feminine wiles to you a hoe. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Sorry. You know, it is what it is. I didn't come up with that. This is from time immemorial.
Okay.
You ain't finna put this on me.
You said it.
Did I say it or did
did, you did.
Amber, the writer? I think our producer said it.
So
Look,
let the
write
record be
them
shown that
letters to
Kim,
her.
I did not call you a hussy.
Yeah.
You were a gold digger. And you had other goals that you were digging for.
For sure.
And I was just digging for some brains. Okay, moving on.
And what you never, ever want to do is to touch this wire right here. You thought I was going to touch it, didn't you? Just a little handyman humor.
I fall for that every time. You've probably worked up quite a thirst. Why don't I get us a beverage?
Sicky now. Oh.
Wow.
Wait a minute. Was he the first person to say sookie now?
On the show?
Oh
I guess
my
so.
gosh.
Oh,
We all
sucky,
thought
sucky.
it was Regine.
No.
It was
That's
over
right.
10.
It was over 10. That's right. Wow.
We just
Okay.
discovered this at what age?
Way. So let's talk about the great John Hinton. I
Hinton.
call him Hinton.
Fine as hell.
Fine
Cleveland,
and funny.
Ohio's
Please.
best.
Listen, I remember watching John Hinton on the Johnny Carson show. And I know I'm dating myself if those of you remember watching the show. And as a stand-up comedian myself, I understand the power of a stand-up comedian going on the Johnny Carson show and Mr. Carson saying, come on over and sit down and talk to me, because that's never planned. Unless you're a big name. It was his first network television show. And I remember when he said, come on over. The look on John's face was like, I'm about to sit next to and Johnny Carson loved him. And that was the night that John Hinton became a star, like all kinds of phone calls. And we'll have him on the show and tell all that. It's a huge deal.
And so here he is introducing us to the apartment. Now, this is very important
okay.
in episode 1. We've already seen one of the most important anchors in there is Flavor Magazine. We also, by establishing that, say that they are career women.
Yes.
You know, they're not homemakers. Who's at home? You are now at home with the handyman.
With the building's
and
handyman.
we are in the girl's apartment, and we get to see ground zero. Ground zero in a sitcom is usually where the couch is and where we see most of what's going to happen throughout the entirety of the show.
Right.
And so it's funny that the leads don't introduce us there. You are there, but meaning it's John Hinton's character, which is
and you see him establishing a little flirt and a little something going on. So we're giving the audience an insight and insight into what's to come.
Exactly. So that's now framing up some of the relationships that we're going to see and testing out those things.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to happen, but we're also seeing that
Something
Overton
can
has a
happen.
thing for Sinclair.
And again,
and Sinclair
chemistry.
is clueless.
Right. She's
gold digging.
no, she's childlike wonder. Childlike
Both
wonder.
of them have childlike wonder.
And that's why we got along
now, so
great.
Overton's character, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Where's he from?
From Cleveland, a simple guy. And I don't mean simple as in simpleton. That's another character that people think stupid. He's an inventor. He can fix anything. He knows the inner workings of everything that's happening in the building. He knows the inner workings of relationships. He's actually meat and potatoes. What you see is
That's
what you
right.
get. Salt of the earth and strong in who he is.
He's the Nat Turner of handymen.
Oh, okay.
No, because he has that little rebel in him. Like, you're not going to just turn him.
No.
He's very strong in who he is, and he understands that in the world where people might judge him, he's a rock.
Yeah.
He never
100%.
apologizes for that. Yeah, I love that. I mean, so he's masculine
Right.
and he's simple,
easy on the eyes.
and he's very accessible. He's everyone's homeboy.
100%. And let me say this about him too. What I love about John is John loves women. He would make every woman who came on the set feel beautiful. How you doing today? Beautiful. He just makes you feel loved and seen and appreciated. And has 1,000 sisters. And I think that's where it comes from. He really loves women and made them feel beautiful.
Well, that's the thing. And that would be an ongoing thing with both men.
Oh,
We have a second
100%.
one that's going to enter, but that they really went out of their way to make sure that they took
please.
care of us, but also to protect us
100%.
and treat us like a lady. Or you are off key.
Yes, I am.
You know what I'm saying?
Childlike
that was
wonder.
some child. Yeah, that was
That's all I got.
wow.
Now today, she let me fix the vacuum, but I figured once I get up under that sink, I'm in there.
Take notes. Dealing with a woman is like playing a basketball game, and brothers like you dribble around the perimeter fixing vacuum cleaners, while a man like me drives straight up the middle and slams.
There we have our men.
Come on.
Right there.
Rocket
we loved
and
them
Rocket
and they
Fuel.
loved us. Rocket and Rocket Fuel. We're learning so much. And this is dialogue, a sitcom dialogue, but what have we learned? Now we're clear that Overton is interested in Sinclair and he wants to get up under that sink,
Oh,
which is
that's scandalous.
that's
That's
very naughty.
fabulous. I love
Very
it.
naughty.
Very naughty.
Very naughty. And then you have this other man come in, which we find out is his roommate.
Yeah.
And he's schooling
Alpha.
him. Alpha male.
Dressed totally different, got the
Yeah.
suspenders, dressed to a T, got his whole formal game going on, a
Right,
business game going
right,
on.
right.
Look at the locks. Now,
Yeah.
let's talk about Kyle Barker. What?
What? We had never seen someone like him in the sitcom world.
No.
Proud, chocolate, blackety black.
Well, wait a minute, we had Dwayne Wayne.
Okay, right.
I have to say, T.C. Carson with the locks
Yeah.
is coming in a professional setting with those locks. That's already saying that
Huge.
he is pushing, and you know what I mean? That he's his own person. I love it.
Yeah.
I
and-
mean, he's unapologetically Afrocentric.
yes.
He is our Afrofuturist. Seriously. But so Kyle Barker is named after Yvette Lee Bowser's boyfriend at the time.
Right. Kyle Bowser.
Kyle Bowser is an amazing dresser.
Yes.
Smart, a lawyer, from Philly
Right.
in real life.
In real life, smart, masculine, alpha male.
Braggadocious.
Right.
Well, see, that's down to T.C. Carson. So T.C. Carson is played by the great T.C. Carson of Chicago.
Right.
And Chicago is nothing if not full of swagger.
Swagger for days. And so TC brought that to Kyle.
He did.
100%.
100%.
Even down to the African clothing he would wear, the jewelry he would wear. He really influenced that character and took it all the way there.
And they were also immediately best buddies. They understood that this show was going to be mostly centered around the four women, and they very quickly coalesced that they would have to advocate for themselves. They also knew and saw very quickly that we were going to protect them. So it was a love affair from the beginning.
From the very beginning. Talk
Yeah.
about chemistry. And so they were roommates who but they had known each other. The storyline is that they knew each other in Cleveland. So that's how they came to be friends and live in the big city
Is that
together.
how they came to be friends? Okay. Oh, that's right.
Right.
Okay.
But that they were very different, but very much brothers.
And they live above the women
Right.
in a whole nother apartment.
Right.
And one's a handyman of the apartment. The other one is the roommate.
Right. There you go.
Don't you ever go home? Good to see you too, girl. Where you going? Carnival? Today, my look and my law were fierce. I got my client the house, the Winnebago, alimony, and 70% of all the assets he tried to conceal. I left that man with nothing but a lint ball and half a Tic Tac. Ha! Don't touch me unless you want to get burned!
And here you come, a force of nature, a force of energy. You come in and we know who you are right away. That you have taken the Winnebago, the this and that. You left it with a lip ball and a what now? And
A Tic Tac.
Don't touch me unless you want to get burned. What was that?
So that
strut?
right there was the audition piece. And that's why I was.
Was it?
Let me tell you, I served that hard. You know how many times I had to do that scene? Wow. That was the scene.
So people should know that sometimes the audition, the audition that you have for the show is actually in the show.
In
so
the
you
show.
were ready. You were
I
revved
was
up.
ready. I was
Did
ready.
you strut like that? Did you really work it in the audition too?
Yeah, I had to.
Yeah,
You know, you
yeah.
get
You
up
gotta
there
bring
like,
your game,
you know,
bring your
dun,
game.
dun, 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 dun.
Right.
I mean, but you know, basically, I knew one thing, that she was written very strong, that she came in immediately. She's, you know, she serves a response.
a zinger right
Zinger,
away.
boom, right away. She comes in, she dumps her bag, and then she tells her best friend, Khadijah, what she's done for the day. And this is a winner. So basically, if a house has its own weather, Max has her own weather system. And she's coming in like a tornado, like a tornado. I love it.
Stay tuned. There's a whole lot more rewatching the reliving show coming after this. Right, Erica? She ain't going nowhere.
You should know that Maxine Shaw is named for Yvette Lee Bowser's lawyer, the great Nina Shaw,
Yeah.
who was a pioneering Black lawyer, entertainment lawyer.
And still is.
But what you see, of course, with her braids and all of that,
Let's
I
talk
came in
about
the
your
door
hair.
with that hair. Deborah Hair Bay of Red Salon. I was growing it out from another show. She put that in, and I came to the audition like that. I really feel like we did this taping. We were at the table read, and we like 3 days later, we were taping.
I don't even remember, but it went fast.
It was fast. It was
Okay.
very fast. So that's what it was.
So you talk about this hair, you know, so you're known for these yarns. So they're yarn locks.
Yeah,
they're locks
we were
made out
called
of
new
yarn.
locks. Now they're called inray, yarn
Okay.
backwards. New
But
locks.
it's important that people know that this is how you came to the character. It wasn't like it was decided that you would have these locks or that, you know, that you would wear this particular style. Erica Alexander was wearing this style, and that's Max's style.
That's Max's style. And I was fine with that because I can't even lay claim to the fact that I think I get a lot of love for having established that. But you got to look at Whoopi Goldberg's jumping
Oh,
jack
please. Okay.
flash to understand that that's in our minds too. So, you know, when we talk about the type of pioneering show this is, I always have to give props to the people who built us. And the people who built me coming into that show would be people like Cecily Tyson, Whoopi Goldberg, who had played my mother, Cecily Tyson, who I wanted to be like, her confidence, her sexuality, that unapologetic barracuda. I think that all that energy is piled up in there. And it certainly is coming off of Yvette Lee Bowser, who went to Stanford and wanted to be a lawyer. This is, you want to know who she is? Yvette Lee Bowser said that she was the Max character. She wanted to be the lawyer. And she had written her so strong that they wanted to get rid of her, but they sent her across the street So that's how she saved her. So that's why Max
Send her
lives
across the street, like in a little golf cart, like me and Latifah.
No. They put her across the street. They gave her a home.
Oh, they gave her across the street from the show, from the
Yeah,
girl.
so
Like,
she
like,
could-
she's too strong to be in the house with everybody, but
Stay-
you were always
that's
there
right.
with us,
She
which
stay-
is also part of the story, part of the joke. Yeah.
She salvaged it by giving her a place to be across the street. But it's just too black, too strong, but also too woman, too strong.
Mm.
I got to say, just real quick, strong feminist voice,
Mm-hmm.
tough exterior, a lawyer.
And we hadn't seen someone like her either. We had not, who was strong in her sexuality, strong in her blackness, clear in, I mean, we've seen versions of it, no doubt.
No doubt.
And of course, Cecily Tyson and hair. Hello.
Yes.
But this mix of things in a sitcom, I think feels very new.
It does. I think the most wonderful thing I thought, she didn't have to apologize for being or wanting sex.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And she
that's-
also didn't have to apologize for the insults. She didn't come back and say, "Girl, you all right?" You know how they did, like you know, I was just. You ain't gonna get that.
That's-
Max, she said it. She stood by it. But there was integrity inside of her that you felt was fair, even when she was being, rigid or kind of, dismissive or insulting. You thought that she was having a blast,
Right.
you
She's
know,
laughing on
she
the
goes on her
inside.
own journey with that. So that's what's up. And I really am very proud to have that as part of how people see me.
Yeah.
It's been a heavy thing to carry.
Why is it heavy?
Let me just put it to you like this. You want to be grateful for every opportunity you get, but you also can become identified by a single character. And the people always ask me, is that you or are you her? And I say, well, do you understand? I don't know who Max is when I'm coming through the door. That's Eric Alexander playing a character called Max that I just met a few days ago and got hired to do. So is Max me or am I her? I say, how about she's me until I learn more about her? Then I become more like her, but then she becomes more like me. So we're inseparable, like every character. Do people don't ask you whether you're Sinclair or like,
Oh, they do. Like
well, it doesn't, that would scare me considering how.
But because I am a person who lives from the space of childlike wonder, which is why I keep coming to, there are people who've said to me, "Oh my God, you're just like Sinclair." And I go, I hope that's a good thing, because I know that there are people who think that she's
It is
dumb,
a good
just
thing.
like they think that you were whatever you were, and you're richer and more and deeper than that. But the qualities that I am installed in Sinclair are foundational to me. So if you say that I'm just like Sinclair, it's a compliment.
And there we are now. We've all been introduced inside of this show,
Yeah.
inside of the first 15 minutes. And that sets the
Genius.
stage, that chemistry, and the hopes, and sort of just like throwing some salt over your shoulder and saying, let's go on this journey
Yeah.
with
yeah.
these 6 characters, Yvette Lee Bowser and her writing crew in tow, and a supportive system. And that's the good news. And we're playing it all on the Family Matters set, which is friggy dicky.
People tell me, did you know that was Family Matters? I was like, I wasn't thinking about it. I was just like, is this where the sofa is? Is that where the door is? Great, let me just do it. It's not until later that we look back and we go, wow, we were using someone else's set until the show got picked up and we got our very
Yeah,
own.
and normally
Yeah.
they might have reshot the thing, because a pilot is a demo. It is a test. But they did so well with the test that bam,
We got the show.
yeah, we kept that as our pilot number
Yeah,
1,
yeah.
episode 1.
It's all,
We
it
was
starts
on
then.
fire, weren't we?
On fire. And it
Come
felt
on.
good right away. I felt it.
It
from the very
did. We
beginning.
can brag now.
We can.
We didn't know then.
I knew in my soul.
knew?
Oh, I knew. Oh, I knew.
Okay.
There was, because as I've talked about before, I had come off of another show that did not have this chemistry. So if I got to a place where I felt, oh, collaboration, oh, these people all seem to really like each other, I was like, this has to work. Oh God, this has to work. Yeah. So I've talked about it and I'll talk about it again, because
Yeah.
the contrast was incredible to experience. And there was a level of joy and respect. And very quickly we learned I could throw the ball to you and I knew that you would throw it back to me, and I could trust what you were throwing my way, and you could trust that what I was throwing your way was going to be golden enough to catch and take to the next level. So I felt good right away.
We were learning each other, but we had the strength, the freedom, and the bravery and courage to connect.
Yes.
You have to want to connect to
Oh,
people.
yeah. And the
You have to
respect,
open
too,
yourself
right.
up to it. And everybody was open to it.
100%.
We closed up later. More about that.
So we've met all the characters now. Everybody has been introduced. We're going to get to know them eventually. But the plot of this show, like we said, was Regine was dating a married man.
Yeah, she saw the perfect man.
We
who's
find
married.
out he's married. He's perfect except just that little thing.
Right.
And we have
And
to
he
tell her.
confirms it, though.
He
He
does.
confirms it to her that she's married, but she still dates him.
Yeah, that happens.
Pobrecito.
Yeah, that's
By the way, we were number 1 in Latin homes. Pobrecito. Poor thing.
Pobrecito. He is married. He tells her. She continues to date him.
That's right.
Right.
And they're mad at her because, come on, Regine.
Like, you could do better than this.
Yeah. Have I ever said her name right, by the way? I say Regine.
You say Regine.
What is her name?
It's Regine, I think. But I love that you say Regine. I love that you give it a hard, like, Regine.
I have never said that name right, not even in the show.
Because what people may not remember, her name is actually Regina. It's Regina. She changed it to Regine to be fancy. She's
Oh.
Regina from Newark.
So I'm Regine.
You're Regine. Regine.
So the pilot is now proving Yvette Lee's thesis.
Right.
Because even though she's gonna go and date the married man, then come back with her tail between her legs, they've got an extraordinary relationship.
They do.
And they've got her back.
Right. And in the end, isn't that what, true friendships are supposed to be about? That in the end, you will come back home and we will be here to lick our wounds or to
Yes.
love each other or to encourage each other.
That's what friends are for.
That's what friends are for.
Yeah. So that's the end of it.
Almost the end.
Well, it's punctuated by Latifah's very famous line.
Right.
What is it?
What would the world be like without men? A bunch of fat, happy women and
with
no
no
crime.
crime. Bunch of fat, happy women, no
Bunch
crime.
of fat, happy women and no
It's the
crime.
truth. You know what? That sounds like the Wakanda of vagina. But I would like to live in that world.
Would you like to live in a world with
Ever ready?
with no men? Oh, it's so much
Fat
more
and
fun.
happy with no
Well,
crime.
I'm already fat and happy, so that's
No offense.
the no crime.
Maybe we could have a hologram for men. I'm willing to test it.
I think that we need each other. So I think this is a great quote, a bunch of fat, happy women and no crime. So, okay, nice that there would be no crime. But I think that the divine feminine and the divine masculine belong together.
Absolutely.
We need
And
them.
if
We
not,
need them.
you better get a vibrator. Because that's what most of these
But-
women have nowadays. Let's be honest.
I get it. I'm not saying that it's that it can't be done, but I think that if we can all get along, it would be great.
We'd be fighting over the one dude. Not me.
I wouldn't fight over.
I'm not fighting
I'm
over
not,
no
I'm not
dude.
fighting. I'm not fighting. I'm not gonna fight.
I'm not fighting.
I'm not fighting. I'm not gonna fight.
I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna fight.
I'm not gonna.
You want to fight?
I'm not gonna fight. I'm why I oughta. We got to finish off the episode.
Let's finish
here.
the episode. So what happens at the end?
We sing a song. We sing the My Girls thing. We go into the bathroom and we sing
So
and dance
this
together.
is where Yvette is sort of saying, hey, if you didn't know what this show was about, we're going to show that the girls always come together
Always.
and they repair and they heal.
Right.
And this is one of their routines. Boom,
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 boom, boom, boom,
boom.
boom. My girls.
My girl.
My girls.
Talking about my
and I robot it. That's all I
My
remember.
girls.
Ooh, and we're singing and dancing and in love.
And we go out.
we go out.
Well, you know what it says?
What does it say?
It says that men come and go, but your friends are forever.
Oh, true.
And that this friendship is going to last, but we're going to need you to come on it with us. And that's, again, it's really the most wonderful thing.
It
And
is.
you know what's funny?
What's funny?
You said 30 years ago we did this, but for 30 years, people have been betting on that friendship. So Yvette Lee Bowser put her magic in it. She had the good sense and the power, the DNA and the luck stroke
Mm-hmm.
to hire 6 actors that could embody a beautiful ensemble and create the magic that became the legend.
That's the pilot. That was us how many years ago? 1993?
Almost 2 years ago, 32 years ago.
Wow. It feels good to watch it. I can't believe I was that young and that skinny, and I thought I was fat then. Like, I thought I was heavy. Like, I had been a bigger girl and I lost weight as I gotten into business, and I was told that I needed to lose weight, and I lost a bunch of weight, and I look at that and I go, oh my God, I was so chubby. And hello, I would pay for that right now. Yeah, but I love myself as I am, but it's funny how body image and the eyebrows and the hair.
Hindsight gives insight.
Right, you ain't never lied.
What? That's a
Hindsight and
word.
hind parts.
Put
What?
that, come on, put that on a t-shirt.
Right. But it felt good to watch the pilot. I think it still stands up. This is The Reverb, our time to reflect on the episode's themes and how they still echo throughout the culture. Today, we're talking about the impact of living single and why it's so iconic.
Black showbiz gives you more.
Black showbiz gives you more. That's a T-shirt.
My ex-husband, Tony Perrier, says that all the
Yeah.
time. Black showbiz gives you more. And if you look at the 90s, coming off of the 80s and the strength of the Cosby Show would set a new level of
Oh,
excellence
100%.
for
Got it.
comedy, not for Black people, but for everyone, for the world. And that's what I love about what happened afterwards. We weren't alone. We were in this world with Living Single, with Fresh Prince,
With
Family
Martin.
Matters, Martin.
New York
New
Undercover. Right.
Yeah, it was just like the tsunami of your power had been unleashed because it had been untapped. That's why the 90s are important, because it was giving permission to say, not only can we do this and we set new records.
And we do it well.
We do it well.
What we were showing them is that this is how we're different and this is how we are the same. And I always tell the story of this little Jewish man that I met in a bank who squeezed my arm and said, I love you girls. You girls are beautiful. I'm from Brooklyn too. I love you girls. I love the queen. I love all the girls. And here they were telling us what our audience looked like and sounded like. And it was actually much wider. He absolutely watched it.
I walked into and
resonated.
had my own experience with a Jewish community. I walked in not knowing it was actually, they were Hasidic Jewish people. And I came in and I said, oh, excuse me, because it was the wrong store. And they said, we know you. We know who you are.
We know
You're
who
that
you are.
bad girl. Now, I don't
You're
even
that
know.
bad girl?
You're that bad girl. And I was,
love that.
That's right. And they did know. And they were all men. And they laughed and they were delighted. But it was instant. It wasn't like, are you? It was like, we know you.
You never told me this story.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely. You know, we would be driving in our cars and then people would speed up and you'd see like white families like nearly running off the road.
People say that I'm Sinclair. They say I'm you. And you got blonde hair and blue eyes and you're me. And so it's important that we belong to our community at large, the Black community, and we belong to everyone who felt
we
that they
were
could resonate.
embraced by them because that's what comedy does.
Yeah,
It's the tie that binds.
Yeah.
It's the hip hop generation.
Yeah.
One of the most consequential and phenomenal music eras was happening. Once again, fueled by Black people with our culture. We've done this over and over again in American history. To be clear, the one thing about being enslaved is that they might have taken many of our freedoms, but they couldn't take our minds. They couldn't take our imagination. The RZA told me, he was like, Erica, the biggest nation is the imagination.
Wow.
And he's right.
Yeah.
And if you look at jazz, if you look at rock and roll, ragtime, punk rock, every genre, country, that's Black people showing that you may not have given us as much access, but you cannot ever take away the access we have
And the access
to
that's here,
ourselves.
right.
But to have the distribution system suddenly say we're going to put on shows with Black cast, that's huge.
And create a window into the worlds and go in there and look. And
we killed it.
Every time.
Killed
every
it.
time. Yeah.
So there's a conversation inside of all that.
And it was a beautiful blend. No one was like anyone else.
Yeah.
We were all very, very different. And I think we each of the characters and each of us represented a different aspect of culture and the culture that was happening at the time. And it just worked.
Yeah.
It worked.
And started to dominate in family-led
Oh.
sitcoms. You can't say enough about Different World, Cosby Show, Hang Mr. Cooper, all those types of things. And we built the Fox network.
Oh, 100%.
We built it. We built this city. We built it. And it was amazing.
100%.
And we should feel proud of that legacy. And in fact, I like to say that every time we come on the lot, they should show us our spots
There should be a
and
permanent
give
plaque.
us a cafeteria meal when we come in.
Like
People be like, why she ask for a cafeteria meal? Should be asking for more of her residuals? Don't
you mean like
worry,
a little
y'all.
Happy Meal?
Yeah.
Well, and you know this, and this happens to you.
No,
Don't
Fox
you
Pioneer.
ride onto the lot and security guards give you the love? Like
They
hey.
do Warner Brothers, because
Right.
we're Warner Brothers, Fox showing them what, but Warner Brothers, yeah,
The
they
love
give
is
us the
still
love.
there.
They're like, come on,
Come
over
on in.
here, right there,
Right there.
There's your
Oh,
spot.
I get the best spots all the time because
Yeah.
of that. Thank you.
That's
Thank
legacy.
you.
People want to
Legacy.
know what it is. You get a better parking spot,
That's all I need.
even when you ain't working on the lot.
I'm
that's
just, I'm
real.
just here to visit.
So, and we influenced some of the biggest shows of all time, and dare we say,
Friends.
we just gonna lay that right there.
Right there. Enjoy. And
Smell it.
people know it.
People do.
It's obvious.
Yeah, fantastic show.
Yeah.
and enjoy it, but it's real.
And did very, very well. But the legend is that the president of NBC at the time was asked if there's any show you wish that you had gotten this season, what was it? And he said Living Single. And then a year or so later, Friends popped up. So
And
we
that
can
was
have a
Warren
whole
Littlefield.
conversation around that.
Yeah.
And that we were with the same production company.
We were on the ranch lot. They were on the big lot.
Yeah, it was very different, wasn't it?
Yeah. We're going to have more tales on that.
Oh, yes.
I know people like to talk about that. I think because it comes from feeling like, again,
You didn't
if
get
you
your due.
create the
right.
culture, you may not get all the acknowledgement and the support. But I have to say, from our fans, from our
From
friends
our
and
people,
family,
they do. They know.
number one, they know and they have lifted us, and I will always, honestly. I mean, it's real, right?
100%. And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Which camera's mine? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
So we're going to do this, right?
We're going to do this
We're going to do more of this.
watch, reliving show.
Unofficially,
Unofficial. Because we don't want to get
rewatch-
sued.
No, that's, yeah.
But we were there so we could talk about it. We were
Girl,
there.
please.
Okay, watch this.
Please, what? Boo.
Uh-huh,
Okay, so let's do this.
Okay.
So y'all better go
Together.
and watch the show and then be ready to come here and rewatch it with us.
Right.
We're going to be here.
And share
Heartbeat.
your-
Heartbeat.
Come on now.
Come on, let's do it. Ouch, wow.
I'm going to tell you this
Okay.
right now. This might come home with me because it's real pretty.
They're going to make us one.
I
It's
hope
gonna
so.
Be the reliving.
But we have a logo and everything. So
Yeah,
come
we
on
will.
now, Kevin. Come on, Kev. Come on,
And a
Kevin.
little
Kev.
gin. Don't be so. Uncle Nearest. How about some whiskey?
I can't drink and work.
Okay.
Because I say what I really feel.
We gonna do that one day. Wait a minute. We gotta
chemistry.
do our chemistry read.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have chosen a script for us to do. I've been thinking about this whole episode, what we should do for chemistry.
Remember, the chemistry read is for the vibe, to see
Right,
if the
right.
vibes watchers, we
Right.
still have it. I
Right.
think we proved it, but
I
let's
think
show.
so too. I think
What'd
so.
you pick?
I picked Billy D. Williams and Diana Ross in Mahogany. Erica and I will read that script together to see if we still got the magic.
Now, what's interesting about you picking that is because on set, we used to do Mahogany
We
all
used
the
to do it
time.
all the
you spend
time.
an inordinate amount of time in the warehouse, on the dusty warehouse, waiting. And so we would play games all the time. And we played like we were children.
We
and one of the things
did.
we did was the Mahogany
scene. So, ladies and gentlemen, Erica Alexander and Kim Coles will do a scene from Mahogany. I will be playing the Diana Ross role, also known as Mahogany the model.
Wait a minute, I want to be Mahogany the model.
We should do it both ways. Okay.
You set me up.
No, you got Billy D with his
All right,
sexy
I'm gonna
self.
be
Okay.
Sexy. He was
Okay.
sexy. Ooh. Okay, go.
I'm a widow from the South Side.
Who said that?
Maybe we don't have chemistry. My old man left me with 6 kids and he hasn't been home for weeks and they all got the flu. What you gonna do about that?
I can't see who said that. Please let the lady who said that step forward,
Mr.
please.
Walker, when you're elected, what are you gonna do to help me?
Do you want to help me to help you with your landlord, lady?
Hell no. I want you to help me get my old man back.
Well, madam, if you really want to get your old man back, are you willing to stand by him while the going gets rough?
Yes.
Madam, would you be willing to put your imagination to work on behalf of the cause he's fighting for?
Yes.
Madam, would you love and cherish him for the rest of your life?
Hell yes. Get me my old man back.
Then, madam, if you're willing to do all that, I guarantee you that I'll get your old man back.
Well, mister, you got my vote.
And then we kiss. And then they do the crane shot and see there's only 20 people surrounding them.
In the
you
cold, cold
know
Chicago.
where you're going to? Do you like the things that life is showing you? Where are you going to?
Do you know? I cry every time I hear
Me
that
too.
song.
I'm about to cry now. Do you get
Get what
Come
you're
on.
hoping
Was
for.
I good as Billy?
You were great as Billy.
You were pretty good at Diana.
Diana, yes!
You were great as Diana. You always are. Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes!
Yeah. Do they feel the chemistry?
We got it.
We got it. We got it.
it.
We never
We
lost
all,
it.
Never. Cradle to grave, baby. See you next week.
See you next week. Reliving Single is hosted by Erica Alexander and me, Kim Coles. Reliving Single is a production of Heartbeat in association with Color Farm Media. Executive produced by Kevin Hart, Jeff Clanagan, Eric Eddings, Leslie Guam, Erica Alexander, and Ben Arnon. This show is produced by Kim Coles. Amber Watson is our senior producer. Our associate producer is Kenny Jackson. Our video editor is Shannon Joy Rogers. Our sound engineers are Eric Hicks and Cedric Wilson. Production supervision by Razak Boykin. Additional production support from Alex Atkins and Z Taylor. And a special thanks to Dr. E.J. Johnson.